friends forever. What's up, beasties? It's Triple B, your friendly neighborhood bearded book beast. So glad you're here. I have got a special surprise for everybody. I've got my good friend Robin here from Only the Best Fantasy Novels, but I will let you introduce yourself and a little bit about your channel, and then we'll get into it.
No problem. Hey, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the talk tonight. My name is Rabin. Today, whenever you're watching this. And I pretty much just talk about fantasy books over and Only the Best Fantasy Novels.
And it's good stuff. I've gotten a lot of things on my TBR. You talk about like classic stuff, new stuff, in between, stuff people have heard of, stuff people probably haven't heard of. Like, I love it, man. You always add stuff to my TBR.
I've read too many things at this point.
I went back and watched some of your older videos because I've watched one since I got on here, but there was one where you talked about how you read like 150 books in 1 year. Is that pretty normal?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's pretty impressive. Because I was trying to do the math in my head. I'm no mathematician, but that's a lot of books per month, right? What's your goal per month you try to read?
Honestly, I just read. It's just that in my particular circumstances, I have a lot of free time, and I'm not really able to occupy it with things that folks would normally do to occupy it. So I read.
Nice.
150 is pretty. I guess it's an average year for me at this point.
Average. You're killing me, man. I want to be like you when I grow up, even though I'm older than you. Because how old are you?
Let me think. I'm 32.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm like an old man here. I'm 41. Well, I should say, if you haven't yet, grab yourself a snack. Now, do you have a thirst quenching refreshment? Yes. Pepsi. Nice. Is that your jam? You like Pepsi more than Coke?
Yep. I'm one of those people.
Nice. Well, see, I like Mountain Dew more than Mellow Yellow, but I do like Coke better.
Fair enough.
But I like Pepsi. I actually really love cherry Pepsi, wild cherry Pepsi.
Yeah, that one is good.
I think that's better than cherry Coke. That's good. All right, so we are here to talk about Book of Elsewhere. Well, first, before we get into that, though, I do want to say thank you because you were one of the first other YouTubers that like commented on my stuff and subscribed and welcomed me. And it's just been cool getting to know you and chatting through each of our channels. And I appreciate you, man. I'm glad that we met, and I look forward to lots of things like this and just chatting and getting to know each other even better through the years. So I appreciate you. Thank you.
No problem, man. You make good stuff, so it's hard not to engage.
Well, yeah, no, same for you. I love it, man. And I noticed your sweet shirt. Show that off. We got another Batman guy. That's right. All right, so DC or Marvel, if you had to pick one.
Oh boy, you're putting me on the spot here.
It's hard.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Marvel.
See, I think overall Marvel too, but if someone asked me who like my favorite was, it'd be Batman. But like overall, I think Marvel just has more stuff. Like I love Daredevil, Spider-Man.
I only said Marvel because of Ghost Rider. I love Ghost Rider.
I love Ghost Rider. Yes. I like Moon Knight too. They've got a lot of good ones. Punisher, like there's a lot of good stuff. So who's your favorite then? Favorite hero?
Oh boy. Honestly, I really don't think about it that much.
Well, you got to think about it right now. I'm asking the tough questions, Robin. Come on.
I think I'll go to Rider.
Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Did you like the movie with Nicolas Cage?
Oh no.
Or were you kind of on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think it was. I mean, it was cool to see a movie with him in it, but
finally,
like they could have done better.
Especially back then when the MCU wasn't really a thing.
Oh yeah, that's true. I know nowadays I feel like they could make was I didn't watch Agents of Shield. Was he in that for a little bit, right?
Um,
There was a ghostwriter
there
like
was a writer.
character.
It was the new
It
one.
wasn't. Yeah.
Uh, um, a guy named Robbie Reyes.
Yep. 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 Yeah, it wasn't the original.
Yeah, and he drives a Charger. So
Oh. So he didn't even have a motorcycle.
no, but the
What?
Charger's sick. So I'll take it.
Ugh, man. If you were Ghost Rider, what would you rather ride? The motorcycle or the Charger?
I would take the bike.
I know. There, I will say that the one scene doesn't he like go up a skyscraper or something on it in the
Yep,
movie? That was
yep,
kind of cool.
yeah, that was sick.
Was that from a comic book?
I honestly don't know.
I know. I wonder. Like, I feel like they had to have got that from a comic book, but who knows? But anyway, let's talk about the book now. So I had talked about reading it, and then you let me know you were pumped to read it too. So we said, let's both read it and then do this. But then, of course, I got that first copy in that was all beat up, which I actually did read that. I read the whole thing with that because we were going camping and stuff. So I just brought that, and it's kind of nice. I was like by the pool, or, if it fell or got water on it, it's like, it's all taped up and gross anyway. So like these are like pristine now because I didn't even read from either one of them. But you got it day one, right?
Yeah.
How I know you were taking the day off to read it. So how
Yeah.
quick did you read it? Did you read it in a day?
I tried to take it slow, but yeah, I kind of ended up reading it in a day.
That's
Um,
good.
like it honestly it's a pretty short book,
Yeah, it
and
is.
with
It's
the
not
way that
long.
and the way that it's laid out, it's not like a high word count. So
Right. No. Yeah. But you do have to it does involve a little like processing, right?
yeah,
It's because of the way it's set up with the different point of views, and the flashbacks and kind of bouncing all around. It takes a minute to get a hold of it, but then I feel like once you do, like that really worked for this story. I feel like,
yeah. In terms of that, like I think it kind of helped that I've already read so much China Evil
yeah.
stuff at this point.
Does
Like
he do that? Like in pretty not pretty. What's the name of the actual series? I always forget.
um Baslag or New
Yes, like
Prophesy.
yeah. Does he do that in that like that in that?
Um, Not specifically stuff like that. Like
Okay.
he's a very varied author. So he does different things in different books, but his core style is just like the way he crafts his sentences and like his verbiage and these kind of things. Like it does take a bit of time to just like
Yes.
read and marinate and go. So like I was accustomed to kind of doing that with his work. So with
So you
this
were
one,
just hit the ground running because
yeah,
you're used to that.
yeah, and in this case, like it honestly, it was pretty like as much as it had a lot of his like core style to it, it was also kind of lightweight for him.
Yeah.
So
I remember you told me it's not like the best representation to start with that and think, oh, that's how his writing is, because when he has complete control, he can do things different.
yeah, he can really get out there.
Yeah, because I read probably the first like 25% of Pretty Street Station and really liked it. Just like in the background while I was reading all my other stuff, and like, yeah, I really like his writing style. That's pretty sweet. I'm getting back to that ASAP. It did not win the the final book of my TBR though. I think Will the Mini won, but
No
I
problem.
do need to read that soon because I dug it. Like just that whole world that he created and like I don't know, he's good.
Yeah,
He's fun.
and I can promise you, it just gets crazier and crazier with it.
That's what I've heard. How many books are in that? There's more than I thought. Because I thought there was only like three, but isn't there like five or six or something?
It's a trilogy. It's a trilogy.
Is it? I
The,
don't know
the New
why I thought I
Prophesy.
saw more when I was looking at it.
He's written a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
Um,
What's your favorite by him that you've read so far?
the Scar.
The Scar.
The
Okay.
Scar.
Is that the
Easily the Scar.
second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So
sequel to Pretty Street Station, right?
so the Scar broke reading for me for 4 years.
Really?
Yeah, like
Because
after I
it
read
was
that book,
so good, or
yeah, like it blew my mind. And like at the time, fancy like what was still being published in the genre was still like quite a lot of epic fantasy.
okay.
Um, So like I was reading like generic epic fantasy, all the new releases everybody said was good, and it was just pretty much like the same thing over and over, just like a different coat of paint on it. And then along comes Chinamieville with a scar. And when I'm done reading this thing, I was like, I need to find more creative books like this.
Oh yeah.
And, and I started digging and digging, and they were pretty few and far in between. And after a while, I just got tired. Um, and around the same time, like I was looking to make a career shift at the same time. So like, okay, I'll read a little bit less for now, and I'll focus on that. And 4 years went by.
Oh man. Well, I'm excited then, but I hope that it doesn't break me like that.
Oh no,
It's true when you find something that good. Like it's
I,
hard to find something because you just, especially because those aren't super short books, so you're really in that world for a while reading all three. But anyway, it was really good. So then it took you a while to be able to get into other things, basically.
yeah, yeah, like that book kind of like opened up the genre for me. And honestly, I don't think anyone would have that kind of reaction in like today, because like at the time when I read it, epic fantasy was pretty much the fantasy genre that everyone was
Right.
reading. Like that was pretty much all that was being released, with few and far in between different works. And even if something came along that was a little more creative, it wasn't necessarily commercially successful. So like it wasn't hyped and that kind of thing as much.
Right.
Um, so, but now like the fantasy that's being published today, like I find it more diverse, more creative, and in general.
Yeah.
So that book will still hit hard, but I don't think it will quite break anyone the way it broke me.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. But hey, you came back because you're still reading lots of stuff. So you made
Yeah,
up for that time
yeah,
that you missed.
yeah. For that 4 years, I think I read maybe 50 books total,
Oh yeah.
and then somewhere along the way, I just randomly picked up Stormfront, and
Oh yeah.
Dresden hooked me and brought me right back in.
He's pulled you back in.
Yeah,
Yes, that's awesome. We should do some Dresden Files videos together then eventually. Especially
I
whenever we find out when the next one's actually going to come out.
yeah, I actually want to reread that entire series because it's
Oh
been
yeah.
a while for me at this point.
Yeah, yeah. I had gotten up through Changes, and I think I read Ghost Story, and then I like didn't read anything for like a couple of years just because of kids and life. And then I got back into it, and that's when I found BookTube, and I actually watched like to remember what was going on. I watched all of Mike from Mike Books book review his videos, his like he does like spoiler recaps of all the books. So I just watched all of those to like when I would be like driving or something, and just I listened and got caught back up. I'm like, oh yeah, I remember now. That happened in that book. I know, like if I were to, I want to do like a ranking the books or something, and I'm like, I don't know if I could tell them apart, like if I can remember the differences between them enough to rank them. But other than like from Changes on, I feel like I remember pretty good. But before that, it's a little hazy.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
that's it's an awesome series. Who's your favorite character besides Harry?
Uh, I would have to say my boy Butters because Poker never dies.
Nice. I like it. Did you how far did you have to catch up before you got up to like the current book coming out? Like since
Um,
you started after Stormfront obviously was released.
yeah, I think when um, I caught up just in time for Skin Game.
Okay,
Yeah.
nice. So you got
So
you got to have a few then. Well, yeah, what like 3, 4? Is
um,
Skin Game right before Peace Talks?
yeah,
Yeah, that's what I thought. So the
yeah.
last three, and I
So
think he's gonna make quite a few more still, or at least planned to make a few more.
yeah, and the thing is, when I caught up with Skin Game at the time, like there was no war. Like he was ranked with like Scott Lynch and
Oh
Rocky.
yeah,
And, like they
he's
all
never gonna finish. Yeah,
yeah. Everyone is like these books are never coming out, blah blah
yeah.
blah. And then I think like a year and a half later, boom, two showed up.
Oh, so you didn't have to wait very long,
No,
not like everybody else. Well, that worked out good. Um, all right. So before we dive into Book of Elsewhere more, I think we'll do a little non-spoiler, and then we'll give people a warning, and then we can talk spoilers. But what are you reading right now before we get into that?
Well, whilst I was waiting to hop on this call, I actually just finished the Ally of Law.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the
Nice.
fourth Miss Bourne book. I'm
Nice.
I'm kind of trying to work my way through the entire
Yep.
cosmere
Me
for
too.
like at least the second time
Yeah.
before.
Oh, this is the second time?
Um, yeah,
Or just some of them the second time, some of them the first time, or all of it the second time?
all of it at minimum the second time.
Okay.
Like the original Miss Bourne trilogy was like the third time.
Okay.
Um, and with Storm, like Way of Kings, at least it'll be like four times.
Nice. I'm reading that right now. It's so good, dude. I love it. Um, so then you're all caught up with Stormlight Archive then, probably.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Ugh. I'm trying. I'm gonna try to get at least those. And I read Mistborn. I read Warbreaker, which that was really good too. And then now I'm doing Way of Kings. I'm gonna try to get caught up by December. I won't be able to read Mistborn Air 2 till after that, but still. I don't know. Is that gonna spoil anything for me? Because
Um,
you're supposed to read like uh the first three or something in Stormlight and then go to like technically or whatever. I can't remember.
Honestly, I don't think it'll really slow you down.
Okay.
Um, like you may just miss a few references or so. I can't even think of any offhand.
Okay.
Um,
So
and
nothing major where it's like, oh,
yeah,
if you
no,
don't read Era 2 first, you're gonna be missing out.
no,
Okay.
and when you do get to the second era Miss Born, like you'll probably like when you encounter stuff, you'll be like, oh, I remember this, and
Yeah, right. Catch all the little things, start catching
yeah,
them. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm pumped. It's good.
too much stuff
I
to
mean,
read.
I know, man. I mean, I look around all the time and I'm like, why did I buy this other book? I've got like so many books I haven't read already. There's just too many good things. And then
Yeah.
now they make books way too pretty. The covers are so you're like, it's like a piece of art. I just want to have it. I get that FOMO. I'm like, oh man, that person has that book. I look at that cover. I gotta have it.
Fair enough. I
Uh,
mainly do.
I know
I
you do ebooks a lot, right?
mainly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I actually do like. I think I love reading a physical book. I love holding it, but like reading ebooks is so easy.
I do it mainly because of space. Like I'm in a very tiny
Oh yeah,
Toronto condo. Like space is at a premium in these joints. So
right. You don't have room to have books just piled up all over the place. But that's good. I mean, it's saving you a lot of money
yeah, there's that.
most of the time. I mean, some digital books are rough, but even then, they're probably still cheaper than the print.
Oh yeah,
At
yeah.
least, especially a hardcover or something. But
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
all right, so I've got let's see, UK American covers back here. Um, and then I read the Berserker graphic novels at the same time. Have you read those at all or no?
No, and that's actually something like I want to talk
You,
about. I want to find out how much like
yeah.
how tied in are they?
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll talk about it a little, and then in the spoiler we can talk about it more. And
Yeah.
then I think after we're done, I think I'm gonna record a video talking about both and how I think they work together. Since I got my pink shirt on, I'll be all ready to go. Um, but yeah, so it is about a character who's immortal named B, or how do you read it when you say it? Do you think it's Newt or a Newt?
Um, I call him Unity,
Oh,
similar to how
that
Raph.
sounds way cooler than what I was saying.
Yeah, similar to like how Raph.
Unitea? You say
Unity.
Unitea?
At the time I was just reading this unit.
Yeah,
Um, but then like when I watched Raph's video after I made mine and so
yeah.
um I like he referred to him as Unity, and I was like, okay, that sounds even better.
That does sound
Um,
cool. Unite. I
and
like that.
and I kind of trust Raph's pronunciations
Oh
because
yeah.
he does like audiobooks mostly, I think.
Yep. Oh yeah, that's true.
Pronunciation.
He already heard it said by the yeah, yeah, yeah. I got
Yeah.
you. Okay. Say it one more time.
Unity.
Unity. It
Yeah.
sounds way better when you say it. I'll say B, and then when it's time to say unity, you say that.
Fair enough.
All right. So he is immortal, and he also has super strength, but he's got a little bit of a brzrkr, a little bloody nine to him, where when his eyes turn blue, he can lose control and kind of almost like black out and just go into a bloodlust and kill anybody that's nearby. So it's set in nowadays. He's working for the government, going on missions. They send him out on all these different missions with a group of soldiers, and he has to be careful and try to not kill the people around him in friendly fire. But sometimes it happens, and that I feel like a lot more in a little bit in the comic, but a lot more in the book. That is a big part of it, about how some of the damage that he's caused by killing people in friendly fire. And I think that the book did a really good job looking at how that could affect people working with someone like that. Don't you think?
Yeah, that honestly, that's kind of like I expected China to take like a non-traditional approach to a
Mm-hmm.
thriller. And I'm not surprised that this is kind of like how he went about doing it, examining like what are the repercussions, what are the consequences on of immortality on a person like
Right.
this and these kind of things. Like it's very much a thriller. There's a lot of action. There's
Oh yeah.
violence and these kind of things.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, like it's not like an action thriller in the sense of like a Jack Reacher novel.
Yeah.
It's it's a bit more character focused, I
Yeah.
guess we could say.
Definitely character driven. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Because and you don't get a lot of time like in B's head. Like you're mostly seeing him through other people's eyes, or you get historical accounts from people that he came along, and sometimes it's like almost like they're telling a story. Sometimes it's happening in that moment, third person, and that person sees him and describes him, and you know it's him because they say something about his blue eyes or whatever. And then there are times it's him from third person, but I found that whenever it's from his third person point of view, it doesn't really dive into his thoughts that much. When it does do like second person almost, where it says you this and you that, and you're like him, which it's very interesting. It's quirky. I kind of like how it hops around. Like I said, it was at first I was like, what's going on? But then once I got it down, I'm like, I dig it. And I kept looking forward to reading it and getting into it more. So I think they did a good job working together. And yeah, I feel like his writing style mixed with Keanu Reeves, he's kind of a quirky dude and stuff, the ideas he has and stuff. I think they just meshed together well and made a really cool book.
Yeah, they definitely did. Like if I had to like put it on par with Chinamieville's other stuff, like I said, it's not like his best, but it's not
Right.
like his worst either. But like it's a pretty good book. Um, like given he's basically restrained by this world that's already created,
Right.
and he has a character who's very much like the type of person you would see in like a thriller, in like a thriller novel, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like I think he did a good job of just like
Yeah.
coming up with a very creative story around that
Mhm.
figure.
Oh yeah, I think he did too. He did. And yeah, like when you read the graphic novels, you'll see like how cool it was, because at first I didn't know if it was going to be like where this could have happened in that exact same story, but it's almost the same story told two different ways, kind of like, like Star Wars with the EU, and then or the comics versus a movie, or books versus like, so same story, same characters, but slightly different. Early on, it's very similar. Well, not really. Actually, it's not, because well, I'll get into that in spoilers, I guess. I don't want to say what is and isn't in either one, but it is cool. You'll see it, and like I had read the first graphic novel before I started the book, so a lot of like the flashback stuff and talking about like his family and how he was created and his mom and all that. It was like I already had this mental image of seeing it all, and it was kind of cool. It kind of helped early on, but I say it's the backstory is pretty similar until you get probably like later into the second volume, and then definitely the third volume. Like the whole like climax and end of the book is totally different than the climax and end of the comic book. So but they were both really good. And I feel like the book left it open where they I think they're going to do more. I mean, it seems like they left it open to go back and do more, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of the things about this book. like fair warning to anyone who's expecting like closure, you
Yeah,
won't get it with this book.
you
Like
don't get much closure.
yeah, like for me it felt like we were just kind of like observing Unity's life in like
Yeah,
a brief span of
yeah,
of what he's lived and what he will continue
right.
to live.
Yep.
Like so because of that, like there's no conclusion
Mm-hmm.
in the same way that like there was it kind of feel like there wasn't quite a beginning. Like when we jump into the story, like things started happening
It
pretty
just
much right
happens.
after
Yeah,
that.
yeah. They don't hold your hand. It's just they throw you in.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It felt like the end of the book reminded me of like the end of a season of a show. Like it wraps up some minor things that happen, but
Mhm.
then like the bigger story, you're still like, well, what's gonna happen? What are they gonna
Yeah.
do? So so yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they did more. Maybe I don't know, because the graphic novel ending was kind of not similar in what happened, but similar as in where they left it open to do more and just wrapped up some things. So yeah, I don't know if he'll continue both or just one, but it'll be interesting to see what they do. And I think they've been talking about. I know from the graphic novels, Keanu Reeves has been in talks to make like a show, an adaptation. I haven't heard more about that if it's actually going to happen, but that would be a pretty sweet show.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And of course, it'd be Keanu Reeves because I mean,
Of
it's
course.
basically him.
That was like what I said about Unity. Like the guy felt like basically felt like John Wick, half John Wick
Mhm.
and half that sad Keanu meme that floats around.
Oh yeah, yep,
Yeah, that
I
basically
agree.
feels like Unity.
Yep, yep, I agree. So let's see. So not getting into spoilers, but I think we can say, I mean, pretty much right away, I guess we can say kind of what happens right at the beginning is he's now I was a little confused. Were they on a mission or were they back at like their base
I
in the
think they
very
were.
beginning?
I think they were back at their base.
That's what I thought, because it seemed like they were
Yeah.
kind of winding down, getting their equipment off, kind of like chatting, and then all of a sudden somebody comes up to Unite, and it takes you a minute to realize what's going on, but he's got like a bomb,
Yeah.
and he's obviously going to try to take out B, and they try to stop him, but it goes off. People perish, people die right away, and then that kind of kicks off the whole story and mystery about why did he do this, how's it affecting other people, how the tragedy and the people that die in that explosion, how that affects other people. And then yeah, you get kind of a look back at B's life, how he got to who he is. And I did like Chinamieville is really good at like he's got just a cool prose, but he does drop some like bombs once in a while. Like I really liked how he said because everyone thinks that B, he's immortal, that he wants to die, but really he just wants to be mortal. And then someone's like, wasn't that the same thing? And there's like a part in the book, I can't remember how he words it, but it says like something about that. Do you know what I'm talking about? He says something
Yeah.
about like it's different. He wants to basically live a life. He doesn't want to, it's not that he wants to die. He wants to be able to die or something like that.
It, yeah. He wants to basically become immortal. Sorry, mortal. Um,
Mortal. Yeah.
kind of almost as if he just wants to experience something new.
Yeah.
Or as there like a lot of it for me, it felt like he was just kind of proceeding, and after a while, he felt like he saw everything there was to saw. He knew
Mhm.
everything there was to knew,
Right.
and like there's nothing on the horizon for him. So like being mortal and knowing that death would eventually come down the line,
Right.
like, it that was kind of the attraction for him because he felt
Yeah.
like then he would have something new finally after 80,000 years,
Right.
have something new on the horizon to look forward to.
Right. Right. Yep. Yeah. And I mean, he's loved and then watched the women he loved grow old and die. And um, yeah, just all the violence that he's been through and the wars and everything. Yeah, he's just kind of like tired. He's just tired of all this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Um, and a cool thing that happens in the graphic novel and in the book, but so he's immortal, but he can technically die. short-term death. And then it's kind of cool when he dies and when something happens bad enough to kill him, which takes a lot, but he can. When he gets that death, he's reincarnated in like a giant egg thing, like a meat egg, a meat sack kind of. And
an egg formed from the remains of his previous body.
Yes. He's got to have something like a tooth or something to be able to grow it. So that's always an interesting part of it too in both stories. In the book, there is it's a pig and a deer mixed, right?
Yeah.
And they're called Barbarosas or something. What are they called? Something like that. I forget.
Honestly, I forgot to.
I know. I gotta look in one of these. But it kind of looks like a warthog, but I didn't realize those were horns when I saw the picture. I thought they were teeth, like tusks.
Yeah. A Barbarossa or something like that.
I think it is Barbarossa. I think you're right. Yeah, I think that's it. But that's not in the comics.
That was actually one of the questions I wanted to ask if that thing was in the comics, because honestly, everything surrounding that for me when I was reading this book, I was like, this has to be chinamieville.
Oh yeah. that fits, right?
Yeah, because like it's this weird ass creature essentially.
Yeah.
And not only does it have like its own agenda, its own agency, and all of that, and it seems quite a bit more intelligent than you would expect.
Right.
It's weird with these tusks that continuously grow to the point
where back into their
where it can grow back and kill itself.
Yeah.
And we probably get into spoilery.
I know. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's see what else can we talk about that's non-spoilery, like I would like in the comic, non-spoilery, the pig isn't in it, but he does come across like some other beings, I'll say, like him, but not a lot. Just like in the book, he seems to be the only one, for most of the story, that he's searching for people or somebody like him that he can feel like his family, but he doesn't have much luck with that in either story. So but yeah, I was kind of surprised because the pig is a very big part of the book, and I think it was really well done. Like you said, it was one of my favorite parts. Just everything about it was cool.
Yeah. And the thing is, for me, it's not just like the pig was weird. It was also like how Unity's reaction to this pig.
Oh yeah.
Like the way like he views this pig as almost like a frenemy.
Oh yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
Then, and then the final scene they have with the two of them, like that whole scene, that whole interaction, I was like, this is 100% David.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I could see that. I've only read a little bit of Pretty Street Station, and I thought the same thing. I'm like, this seems like it's China coming through here.
Yeah. Honestly, that scene, I think that was like the most emotion Unity showed throughout the entire.
Oh yeah. Yes, he's very dry.
Yeah.
He does once in a while. He does say some like funny things, but he delivers it very like stoically, and it's like, did he just make a joke? But yeah, it's pretty good, and I would say, all right, I'll say that in the spoilers. I was going to talk about one of the characters that I liked him much better in the book than in the graphic novel, but I won't say who until we get to that part. But can you think of anything else non-spoilery that we could talk about?
I guess we could kind of like bring up the fact that as much as this is like a thriller novel, like it's quite a bit more complex than what you would expect.
Right.
Like
it's not just a punch 'em action straight up kind of thing. You got to strap on the thinking cap a little bit.
Yeah, like it in addition to it being covering like a lot of thematic stuff, it also there's also just these. There's also a lot of just weird, different storylines that goes on throughout it. That they wouldn't necessarily be there in your average thriller novel.
Right.
So
it is definitely like a it's definitely like a fantasy sci-fi mixed with a thriller. Like there's definitely that fantastical stuff in there, a little bit of the weird.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so I think we've talked all we can non-spoiler. We both liked it, but don't go in thinking it's just going to be a popcorn read, a quick, fast-paced thing with a lot of blood and action. The blood and action is there, but you got to think about it, and it does deal with. I will say too, it does deal with death and depression and grief, and I think they do it well. But some of it gets pretty deep with some of it, like thinking about how it affects these characters. So be prepared for that too. But there's also a lot of lighthearted spots too that are pretty entertaining. So now we're going to talk spoilers. So if you have not read it yet, the graphic novels or the book, we'll talk spoilers both. So I won't talk too many spoilers though for the graphic novel because you haven't read it yet.
Honestly,
I'll let you ask. I'll let you ask some questions, but I won't volunteer anything you don't want to know.
honestly, I may never read them, so
The
that's
graphic
fine.
novels are so quick to read. You can do it. You should maybe at least do like I don't know. I was gonna say you could read like the third volume, but the second one has some stuff that's different. You'd have to read them all. Or Bloodlines is like a prequel. They're just a couple of stories like in the past. So you could read that. Those are just kind of a cool look at him and things he's done.
Honestly, the main reason I picked up the book was because Chinamieville wrote it.
I know.
Like
I know.
not,
That's
not
your jam. That's your jam.
yeah, like I didn't need to know what it was about. I didn't care about anything that Keanu
His
did.
name is on it. You're
That
getting it.
was just it. So like I I wouldn't go out of my way to pick up the brzrkr graphic novels. Like if someone loaned me them, or if like I was at the library and I saw them there
Mm-hmm.
and I could borrow them or something, I would do it.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't go searching out for them. So you're free to
Okay.
have
All
access
right.
to what.
So what you're saying is I need to get them and send them to you. So you'll feel
Oh boy,
like you have to read them.
I
I
guess.
did. I just got them from the library too, but I did like it. And they have look on Amazon, look up brzrkr. They're coming out with like a special edition book with everything in it, and it's looks pretty sweet. It's got awesome
Okay.
artwork on the cover, like his fist all bloody, and then it's got like a slip case. It looks good. I
Okay.
might have to get it. It's like
Then
$40 too. I mean, I feel like graphic novel special editions are not as crazily priced as some of the books are, but
if it's 40, I guess I could. I guess I could do it.
I don't know. I mean, you get all 3 volumes plus the prequel, and I just read too that they're doing a sequel to the prequel one, so there's going to be 2 more prequel stories that they're making that are coming out in December, I think. But this omnibus comes out in October, so keep your eye out for that one.
Okay.
All right, so you've been warned. We are going to do spoiler talk now. So if you want to read the book with no spoilers, you want to read the graphic novels with no spoilers, you can't blame us if you stay and anything's spoiled. All right, so I guess first, let's say I'm going to do my review of this probably tonight and then put it out this week. What do you give books like star rating? I know because I know you're on Goodreads.
Um,
How do you do it? Like when you decide what to rate them? Like what's your process?
honestly, like I've gotten very, very good at picking stuff that works for me. So most books will land like 4 stars, 3 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Like if a book just kind of fell a little bit short of expectations, I might give it 3 stars.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
Generally, most of the stuff that I pick is like 4 stars,
Mm-hmm.
and then like if I really had a good time, 5.
Yeah.
I'm not stingy with them. Like
Oh, yeah.
I've gotten very, very good at the point to like to pick out what I know works for me. So
Yeah. Do you have you given like a 1 or 2 star, or do you just stop reading if it's that bad?
I finish reading it.
Mm-hmm.
I try to avoid DNF in anything.
Yep. Same here.
Yeah, because I my personal take on that is I get why people don't want to invest time and
Right.
energy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But my personal take on it is that like I wouldn't get like I wouldn't be able to form like a proper opinion until I
Right.
get until I'm able to view something as a complete work.
Right. The complete package. Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah.
Um, yeah, like I have 1 and 2 starred stuff in the past, but like it's rare for me. It's rare.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Same here. I'm usually pretty positive on stuff. I think like even if I didn't like it, I'm like, but it wasn't that bad. I like this or I like that, you know.
Yeah,
Or and yeah, I'm such a completionist. I have a hard time DNFing something. I'm like, I gotta see what happens, even though I don't really like it and I want to read something else. Like I gotta see it through. But
yeah. I try hard to find something to enjoy in everything I read
yeah,
because I read for entertainment, for enjoyment. So
right. Yeah,
I
exactly.
try pretty hard.
Yep.
Um,
And
so
I feel like I don't know. I feel like most things like there's always something you can find in it, you know.
yeah,
I guess.
yeah,
All right. So, what would you give this then? What do you think? What did you? Or you probably already did it then on Goodreads. What
yeah.
did you give it?
I gave it a 3 because
Yeah.
like I went into it with low expectations, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I enjoyed it. I had a good time with it. It didn't blow my mind.
Right.
I
Exactly.
didn't enjoy it as much as I would like the other stuff that I would give 4 stars,
Yeah.
but it's not like I disliked it or hated it either.
Yeah.
Like it was okay.
Yeah. I'm the
It,
same way. Like I feel like when I do it, it's gonna be between a 3 and a 4 star. But then it was like my book of the month just because I don't know, I just enjoyed it so much. But then if I actually rate it, it's gonna be
Mhm.
lower than the other books I read. So
Yeah, it has a lot of
interesting
creative.
thing.
It has a lot of creative and interesting things
Mhm.
going on, but like as a total package,
Right.
something about it just
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Definitely something could have been done to make it better. I don't know what,
yeah,
but yeah, definitely not a 5 star book for sure.
yeah.
All right. So spoiler, graphic novel versus the book. In the graphic novel, there's like nothing to do with like the whole um bomb thing in the beginning, and then like the whole support group and like that villain coming along. There's like nothing with that. There's nothing with the shrink. There's nothing with any of that. And actually in the graphic novel, it probably wraps up things a little more, because in the graphic novel, when that what's the doctor's name that ends up kind of being a tool in the book? Ends up
I
he's
don't
like,
know.
because there's the girl doctor. I can't, my mind is blanking on names. But there's
Yeah,
the
like
girl doctor that he likes, that Unite likes, and then there's the older doctor, the guy doctor that's kind of like a follower of the people that think he's death or whatever.
yeah, he's that cultist.
Yeah.
Honestly, the other characters they didn't really stand out for me, which which I think was part of the point of the story. Like Unity over 80,000 years, he just meets and interacts with so many people that very
Oh yeah.
few make an impression or a dent on him.
Yeah.
Uh, so like honestly, those names they came in one year, they went out the other.
Oh yeah, same here. Yep.
Yeah,
So that guy that was kind of bad in the book, he got used by the other people, but he was bad in the graphic novel too. Same thing. He's part of that order and he's doing things behind the scenes. So there's no pig. But at the end of the graphic novel, he ends up the girl doctor, they end up taking him out to the middle of nowhere to try to, they say they have a way to like help him get his memories and become mortal. So they take him out into the middle of the desert because it's gonna like cause this explosion of energy and stuff. And when it happens, she ends up getting hit with it, and then she gets like some powers a little bit, and then he actually loses his powers, and then it gets a way different, because then him and her actually end up like they have an even deeper relationship, and they end up she ends up getting pregnant with his kids because he loses his powers for the
mhm.
most part. And then she has 2 kids from him, a boy and a girl, and then they have powers and they grow up really fast. They're like, after like a short time, they're already like teenagers. And then the character that I like much better in the book, in the graphic novels, was his like handler. Oh gosh, what's his name? Jim, I think. Is that what
Yeah,
it is? Yeah. He he ends up being kind of a douche in the comic books. He kind of betrays him, whereas in the book it's kind of the other way around, because he's always trying to be there for B, and he ends up getting destroyed by him and
Yeah,
with the Franken bee.
yeah, and you like he was almost like this cultist, like trying to create like this cult around B.
Oh yeah,
Basically.
trying to make their own version. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was pretty cool. That whole part,
yeah,
like, I feel like that would make a sweet scene if they made a show, an adaptation, like him going against like a Franken version of himself. That was
yeah.
pretty neat. And then I was so confused at that part when he, like, I thought they were gonna have this epic battle when he caught up to him, and then he catches up to him and he just like falls apart into a pile of slop or whatever. But
Yeah,
it got very like it was almost a little creepy there between that and then the guy that gets like brought back to life and is almost a little possessed, and like it describes how he can't like talk right, and like because he's trying to learn how to do everything again since he's been reincarnated or whatever. So
yeah.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely got a bit more horrific towards the end there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Especially how they describe Frankenbee. Like,
Yes. Yeah, they
yeah,
did a good, even when they were just describing the I don't even know what it was in, like a vat of goo with just like an eyeball and teeth floating in it and stuff.
yeah,
Because they'd been collecting parts of him because they knew that's how he came back, right?
yeah.
So that
And in some cases they didn't even have like matching parts because he has like
right.
two
No,
left
he had
hands.
two left hands or whatever. And yeah, and like, oh yeah, I know. I bet that's why I mean it would look sweet if they had to do that for an adaptation. That would look pretty cool.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So how closely does the book follow the like the general, like the core plot of the book? How closely does it follow the graphic novels? Is it almost like an adaptation, or is it like a few
Yeah,
slight
it's
differences?
it's oh man. Like the same, he's created the same way with the mom and the blue lightning and the dad, like all of that happens, all what he remembers from the past, that all that happens in the comic book too, so that's pretty much exactly lockstep. But then the main story is just, it's a little different. Yeah, there's no, that whole thing doesn't happen with the explosion and with um all the characters kind of hating him and stuff. The gym guy is working with that doctor to try to make to like harness that the power that B has, and like instead the that doctor guy, he ends up trying to make it so that he can have that power more so than trying to make like a Franken B or whatever. So
Oh,
he's kind of the ultimate villain, but then he gets stopped, and then at the end, B actually protects the girl. Gosh, I should look up what her name is. I feel like it starts with a C or something, but I can't remember. He
the
protects her.
CLS or
Yeah,
something.
yeah. He protects her and his kids because in the book and in the graphic novel, it does talk a lot about how he really wanted to have kids,
Yeah.
but it didn't. Right, every time he did, the kid died, or the mom and the kid died, and it was just it came out dead because of his power and stuff, how it transferred. So he protected them, and they kind of took off. The mom took off with the kids, and then he it ended with him being like reincarnated in an egg, but he's like way in like the past, and it's like
Oh,
like a long like I couldn't tell if it was like caveman time or like dinosaur time, and he's like I'll find my way back to you. So I don't know, like, because he's like they can like telepathically talk a little bit, like him and the lady, because of her powers now.
uh-huh.
So very different than the book, because in the book she doesn't get powers or anything, and
Nothing of the sense.
she and him and her, like, they have a little, like, you can tell he likes her and she kind of likes him, but nothing ever happens, and it goes much further in the graphic novel with them.
Yeah, they had in the book it's more like just like a more like a camaraderie kind of fascination dynamic between
Yeah,
the two of them. Like she's
yeah,
fascinated by him, and
yeah,
he's like a bit more open with her, just a
Yeah.
bit more than anyone else.
Yeah, than anyone else. Yep.
Yeah, but
Yeah. So it is like kind of this, I guess, the same core story about his past, the military using him, and then somebody trying to use his power for themselves. So similar, just done totally differently. And I think the graphic novels, I think for a graphic novel, the way they did it was really good and action packed and entertaining. But I think I like the book a little bit better just because it felt more grounded and they focused on character driven stuff and like emotions and the reality of, I mean, you know, as much reality as with this quirky story could be, but if there was somebody like that you had to work with and you saw your friends die and people you love die because you're working alongside this guy, like people would start to hate him.
the
And you know,
consequences.
yeah, exactly. So I do like, because there wasn't a lot of that. There was a little in the comic books, but not as much as in the book. They really
Fairly.
fleshed that out a lot more. So that was cool.
Yeah, my thing, my thing with that, like the book, is that for, it felt like the only time he really expressed any emotion was that finale with the pig, man.
Yeah,
Like,
his brother, the pig.
the brother.
Uh, I know, and that pig did not like him.
Oh no, and
And
and then
no, go ahead.
and then they have like their moment of reconciliation at the end.
Oh yeah,
If that was even it, maybe the pig just decided to just wander off, and he'll come try to kill him again in another
yeah,
year or two. Who knows?
right. Because yeah, I guess you never really know from the pig's point of view. Yeah, did he just give up? Like, I'm done, man. I don't care. From like B or Yanute, from his point of view, he kind of sees it as like, we buried the hatchet, like we're cool now. But really, yeah, the pig could have just been like, whatever, man. I've killed you enough times.
Yeah. Oh,
Because yeah, I don't. It kind of makes it seem like every time the pig comes back and he deals with all that, it's like he blames him for what he's going through, you know.
yeah.
So he wants to kill him because he's like, oh my gosh, you again! Every time I come out of this stupid egg, you're here.
Talking about coming out of the egg, I think I think a part of the book that really freaked me out was when he was captured by that cult with
Oh
the life cult, and they were
yeah,
just trying to kill him, and they
yeah.
were just killing him over and over and
Experimenting on
over.
him, seeing
Yeah.
seeing like, what do we have to do to make it so you can't come back? Like, how bad do we have to kill you? And then he just kept coming back. Yeah, that was
And
a pretty dark part.
yeah, like imagine being killed pretty much as soon as you woke up
Oh
for
yeah,
years on end.
yes, like
Um,
instant. Like
and
yeah,
when
as soon as he came out, they'd do something to him. They were waiting.
and when he goes back to the cave afterwards, there's like all these body parts all over from him, his body parts.
Oh yeah,
It's
oh yeah.
like it's just messed up.
It was, yeah, that was wild. It was crazy. Yeah, that's referenced a little bit in the comic book too.
Okay.
A little bit, not like you'd think that they kind of just mention it because they talk about that character, that girl, the one that was in charge of that cult or whatever.
Uh,
Um, but yeah, it doesn't like show it, but he does go to that same place and all that happens to him. It references it happening in the past, but yeah, that whole like support group and the psychiatrist that like is kind of helping the doctor, like all that stuff, and that the guy that's like light or whatever, like the opposite to be, he's
mhm.
not in the comic book at all. None of that happens at all. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
really that doctor and Jim actually working together. It does show like I gotta look up. I didn't quite get this part at the end of the graphic novel. Through the whole thing, it didn't really show this weird. It's like a floating robot, like one of those. Think of like it's like a circle with like the long arms hanging down and one big eye, like one of those things. All of a sudden, this thing is at the end talking with Jim, like it's like in charge, and like maybe I like slept read through it, but I like had never seen that thing before. And then all of a sudden it's there at the end after Jim kind of stabs B in the back and turns on him. and it's working with that thing, and I'm like, what is that thing? Who is this? I don't understand. So I don't know. I might have to go back and read it again when that new thing comes out, because maybe I missed some stuff that when I was just breezing through it or something. I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah. Um, Another thing I think I liked about it were like the vignettes that he had over the course, where they showed like different moments in B's life where he had like an impact on someone, like that stowaway
Oh,
who fled from
I
Ireland to
just
Canada.
yes, I was just gonna ask you about that. That part was cool. Like I didn't see that coming. That thing that was helping him was just like pure energy, bringing stuff to
Mhm.
life or whatever. So yeah, there's the story. It's like two young. I don't know if they were like adults, like in their early 20s or teenagers. Like seemed
Um,
pretty young.
I think
However,
one was like mid-teens, and then the other one was like 12,
yeah, and the
something like
older
that.
one was the one that got
Caught.
found.
Yeah.
Yep, and then the younger one hides underneath, stows away, and
Mhm.
they're at sea for a while, and then there's something like in the shadows that he keeps seeing move, and that was kind of all a little creepy too. Um,
Yeah.
it sees like a figure standing there, and then eventually he gets found, and the guy that finds him is going to beat him, but then that thing saves him. Um, but then good old Unute comes down then, and kind of goes, but then does he see it before it fights him, or and sees that it's just like a broomstick and like pieces of plank wood or something with like
I
a
I
message
think he
on it?
saw it.
He saw
I
it
think
first, right?
yeah, I think he saw it.
And then
Um,
it ends up hurting B, because he ends up saying like, I haven't been hurt like that in like a long time. But then of course he just destroys it.
yeah,
And then
like
it does, yeah, that part was pretty cool.
yeah, when I saw like the description of this creature, like
Yeah.
this automaton, whatever, I was like, this is another part where like Mieville is just having fun with us, because Mieville's like, he likes trash for
Yeah.
some reason. Like he does a lot of fun things with trash in his books, and
Hmm.
this was his little similar to the pig. Like this is like another signature of his.
Yeah. It felt like his jam in that
Yeah,
part. Yeah, that part was cool. That was one of the favorite like accounts or flashback parts. That was
yeah.
pretty cool. I liked it. Um, what other ones was there where it flashed back? I mean, it talked about some of the stuff from when he was young. You had the lady. There was a couple of female accounts that he was with women for like a long time that he
Mhm.
like rescued or saved, and they kind of won him over. Um, and I don't see, now I'm starting to get the graphic novel and the and the book mixed up. Did it talk about, did it have any accounts with where he tried to have a baby with any of them?
Yeah, yeah. They spoke
Yeah.
like he had there were a few where they talked about like what happens when he tries to have
Yeah.
kids, where like the baby will come out basically stillborn,
Yep.
and it's one of the things like he kind of always wanted, but like it's frustrating to him
Yeah.
that it doesn't happen.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think in the book that's mentioned here and there. In the graphic novel, they show it a lot more, and then that's why at the end, when he finally has kids, it's kind of like a little bittersweet, because he spends a little bit of time with them, and he has like his little family unit. But then the Jim and the floating robot thing, and they come along and they end up killing him, because he doesn't have powers. So actually, when I was reading, I thought, oh, so they're gonna make him mortal. He had his little family, and now he's gonna die protecting them. But then, like I said, at the end, he's comes out of the egg. But he's I don't know if he's in a different timeline or just in the past, because like that's one of those things that starts to mess with my mind, because he says, I'll find you, it's just going to take me a long time. But like if they're in the same timeline, technically I don't know, it's one of those weird things. Like that kind of stuff blows my mind when I try to think like, okay, if he goes back in the past,
Mhm.
is she going to keep moving forward, like where he can never catch up to her, or is he eventually going to catch up to right where he was when he died and she's still there? It's like
Yeah,
that you know what I mean? But
yeah.
then she's gonna keep going on, so that would be a different version of her than yeah, I don't know. That stuff, you know, do you ever think about some of that Back to the Future stuff? It's like,
Ah,
wait a minute. I can't wrap my head around this.
I feel like you could easily just go down a rabbit hole thinking about time,
Oh yeah.
like time travel and
Oh yeah.
consequences. So
It is. It is. Those ripple effects, like you know, if he does stuff differently, he's gonna change the future. So then when he finds her, is she even gonna be the same? Like, I know there's so much to play with time travel.
yeah,
I mean, you step on a blade of grass that would have never been stepped on. How much does that change? I don't know. You know, it's wild.
yeah.
But yeah, it was an interesting experience to say the least. I would recommend like I guess probably if someone hasn't read it yet, they shouldn't still be watching this, or they should have really skipped ahead. I'll put chapters in, but but yeah, it was kind of fun to do both at the same time. I just kind of mixed them in, um, and then I read the Bloodlines, which was the prequel stuff. I read that afterwards, which I think that kind of worked nice because I feel like if you started with that, it doesn't really explain like how he got his powers and all that stuff. It just kind of drops you into these two different stories, which are really good. I actually really liked them a lot, but I feel like people should probably just start with volume one and the beginning of the book. They go good together. And then, like I said, volume two, like later on in it, all of a sudden that veers off from the book. It's very different, different story, same thing, but different story. So it's kind of cool that they're different, not exactly the same, but
Nice, nice.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, um, you told me that China Mayville has another book coming out soon, right?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
when before when I was looking into this, like I just came across a random press article about this novel, and as I was reading through it, I saw him mention that he also submitted his own novel,
Oh yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
his first like original work in a little over a decade, I guess, and it's going to be like 1,000 pages. So
Nice. A
yeah,
nice chunky boy to get lost in.
oh yeah,
Has it said if it's going to be like in his Bass world or if it's going to be something totally new and different or not really
they didn't say anything about that. Um,
yet?
Honestly, it'll probably be something new and different
I
because
feel like yeah,
yeah, like the Basak stuff, it's kind of a like a one-off series for him.
yeah.
Like in general, he writes standalones, he writes novels,
Standalones, yeah.
that
Hmm.
kind of thing. So so who knows?
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm sure they probably don't want to talk about it too much with this. They want to let this breathe and not have people get too psyched about his other stuff yet.
Oh yeah.
Probably, but yeah. So we'll see. All right. Is there any other spoilery things you want to talk about from the book? I'm trying to think if
Um,
there's anything else crazy that happened that we should talk about.
there's a lot we could really get
There's a
into.
lot of crazy stuff that
Yeah,
happened.
like but I kind of want to leave some mystery to it,
Yeah. Oh
like
yeah.
because
I agree.
I'm pretty sure there will be people who haven't read the book who will watch this far
Oh
in.
yeah. Just like to see. And I mean, I
People,
guess we didn't get too spoiler. We didn't like go from the start of the book all the way through and just talk about every little thing.
yeah,
Just a few little things that we liked, but
and
um,
we're kind of vague in some cases because we don't even remember like the side character names and like,
we're not the best spoiler chat people because we don't remember names. Like they were just like, you know, that one guy, that doctor guy that did this, and then so yeah, like really, they probably could have just watched the whole video and been fine.
yeah.
Oh man. Oh, but yeah, no, it was fun, man. It was fun to talk about this book. We should definitely do some more, like some Dresden Files, or once I finally read Basslag, we should do some Basslag ones. Or what do you say is the best? What do you recommend people starting with Prettier Street Station or one of his standalones?
Um, it depends on the type of reader, I guess.
Mhm.
Like, I think generic, I would probably recommend The City and the City,
Oh
mainly because like it's his most accessible book.
Okay, that's what
I
I've
feel,
heard.
yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like it's his most accessible fantasy because
Okay.
it's basically like a murder mystery.
Oh, that's cool.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah, but and the concept at the time when he wrote it, like it was pretty mind blowing. Since
Okay.
then, like a few people have done
Oh, I've
something
done
very
it.
very
Okay.
similar. So it's
Not as
I mean,
original anymore, but for the
um
time it was.
yeah, and like like it still will be a pretty good read.
Okay.
But I feel like the concept, like the big twist, would be like a little more familiar to people,
Okay.
and even within that, like the way he does it is still quite unique. So I would say that, or if you're looking, if like you're more of like a epic fantasy reader, that kind of thing, you would probably be good just to jump straight into Perdido,
Okay.
because like I'm sure from the 25% of it that you've
I'd
read
say
so far,
I
like
feel like that's the first one I have to read because I already started and I got to know what happens now.
yeah, like it's very rich. Like the world is very laid
Oh,
on
it
pretty
is.
hard. So
Yeah. It's like right away, it just he sucks you in, just talking about the world and like the characters. Like, oh yeah, he's good. It's good stuff. But this, I have wanted to read the other one you talked about, the standalone.
yeah, the
Like,
city
I've
of
heard a
six.
lot of good things about that. I guess I didn't realize it was a murder mystery. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think the main character is like a police detective. So
Yeah, yep. Okay, very cool. Well, I think that's good. It's been over an hour.
yeah.
Even longer because we chatted a little bit beforehand when I was trying to figure out the StreamYard thing. It took me a minute,
Yes.
um, but yeah, and just so that everyone's aware, if you didn't notice, the pink around our names, that's right. The blackish gray background, like our shirts, even match the cover. Like, look at that. We're good. We didn't even try. We didn't even plan that.
It just happened.
It just happened. All right, guys. I am gonna let Robin go and get on with his night. Thanks for coming on the channel, man. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun chatting with you. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to do a lot more of this. I didn't mention it a lot because this was really focused on Book of Elsewhere, but this is my first Beast Friends Forever, and I was happy to have Robin be the first guest, so that was a lot of fun. Robin, I'll give you the floor one more time to let people know about your channel, which will be linked in the description below also.
Thank you very much for having me on. And yeah, feel free to like, subscribe, whatever. If you've actually made it this far into the video, you could drop like a pig emoji so we'll know you
Yes.
were here.
Yes. I was thinking the same thing. Boom. Wait, this way. I can't get that down, man. Opposite. All right. So that's all we got for you, Beasties. So thank you. Check out Robin's channel. It's an awesome channel. You'll get lots of things added to your TBR, which we all love. And if you haven't subscribed to me, also subscribe here. I would be surprised if you aren't subscribed and you watch this long, us ramble on about stuff. But if somehow you haven't, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and it'll let you know when I have videos come out so you can come back and hang out with us again. But that's all I got. So until I see you in the next video, Beasties, devour those TBRs, be brave, be beautiful to one another, and be beastly. We'll see ya.